Oh hi. The Republic of Namibia, the state in South Africa. In the north borders on Angola and Zambia, in the east on Botswana, in the southeast and the south on the Republic of South Africa. From the west it is washed by waters of the Atlantic Ocean. The area minus 824.3 thousand km. The population minus 2,533,794 people. Assessment 2017. The capital, the city of Windhoek. Country government is exercised the president elected for 5 years and two-chamber parliament. The international ratings of Namibia differ. There are high freedom of the press, one of the most effective governments in Africa, but at the same time the medium to high level of corruption and the average level of human development. Member of the United Nations. 1990. World Trade Organization. 1995. The main part of Namibia is made by the heights occupying the center of the country. There is the highest point. Nant-Kynigstein. Randburg. 2606 m. From the west the central plateau is limited to the Namib Desert leaving to the Atlantic Ocean from the south, the River Orange, from the east minus 20 m and 21 m in degree of east longitude in the Kalahari Desert. The strip of Caprivi and far north of the country are occupied with the jungle. The rivers in Namibia aren't enough, and most of them are filled only during the separate periods. Dry courses in language of A and On. Onim tells the people, the inhabiting country north, are called an Oshana. During a rainy season they can be filled and flood up to 60% of the territory. The largest rivers in Namibia, Orange, Fish. Are Canyon, the second largest. Length and width. In the world after Grand Canyon in the USA. Okavango. Falls into the huge swamp in the territory of Botswana called the Delta of Okavango. In Namibia it is enough hot, and rainfall drops out a little. Partly it is connected with influence of a cold Bengalski current. The largest city of the country, the capital of Windhoek. Other large cities, Walvis Bay, Swakopmund, Oshakati, Grootfontein, Keetmanshoop, Sumab, Gobabis. Since 1890 before World War I the country was called the German Southwest Africa, and then Southwest Africa. In 1968 according to the resolution of the United Nations General Assembly the name Namibia was appropriated to it. The toponym is formed from the name of the Namib Desert on the western coast of the country. This name comes from language of indigenous people of Anam. After that the Republic of South Africa on an extent of 20 years continued occupation of the country, and only in 1988 agreed to leave Namibia. On March 21, 1990 in the presence of the Union Secretary General and the South African President independence of Namibia was declared. Since the most ancient times the territory of present Namibia was inhabited by the Bushmanski, Thanski tribes, which were engaged in hunting and collecting. Later Getintota, Anam and Damar came. Nomads cattle farmers. There. Approximately since the 16th century from the North tribes to Abo, EAF Setswana and others began to get at the end of the 18th century pushed aside and also got into on the South. In the 1830 years the Gotentotski tribe of Anam, which again came from Cape Colony, headed by the leader Yonker Afrikaner, subordinated tribes and Damar. Europeans came to these droughty lands rather late. Only in 1878 Great Britain annexed Walvis Bay to Cape Colony. In 1883 the German merchant Adolf Lüdrich redeemed the side of the coast near the Bay Angrapicana from one of local leaders of the tribe of Anam for 200 guns and goods worth £100. Under English-German contract of 1890 all coast of modern Namibia, excepting Walvis Bay, departed to Germany. Thus, borders of colony the German Southwest Africa were defined. The German authorities encouraged arrival of the white colonists, borrowing the earth of local population. At the beginning of 1904, under the leadership of the leader Samuel Magarera, excited a rebellion, having killed more than 100 German settlers. Germany sent to Southwest Africa soldiers headed by the General Lothar von Trotha, who declared that all have to be expelled from the country. In fight at Waterberg suffered severe defeat. Survivors tried to reach through Kalahari, the British possession Bechuanaland, nowadays Botswana. Britain promised to harbour if they don't continue a revolt. Many died, without having sustained this transition. According to 1905, when Germans conducted the first population census in Southwest Africa, remained about, generally women and children. They were placed in concentration camps, similar by what British arranged at the time of war against drills. Soon after suppression of a revolt opposed Germans a Nama, Hendrik Witbooi and Jacob Morenga were their leaders. Fighting continued till March 1907, when the peace agreement was signed. The Morenga waged guerrilla war later. Estimates of number of Anam died during the revolt strongly fluctuate. Most likely, they were about 4,000. During World War I in 1915, troops of the Southern African Union took Namibia. In 1920, use received from the League of Nations the mandate on management of Southwest Africa. After the termination of activity of League of the Republic of South Africa, I refused to hand over the mandate and I continued to control this territory, having set apartheid mode there. The Republic of South Africa regarded Namibia as the buffer protecting the country from the enemy states of Black Africa. The white minority of Namibia was presented in Parliament of the Republic of South Africa. Walvis Bay since 1878 was making a part of Cape Colony and not being a part of the German Southwest Africa was included by British in structure of Southwest Africa in 1915 and returned to the Republic of South Africa only in the late 70s. Thus, at the time of adoption of the Declaration of the Union on Decolonization, 1960, Walvis Bay turned out as a part of Namibia owing to what member states of the Union didn't recognize his return transfer to structure of the Republic of South Africa. Walvis Bay passed under control of Namibia in 1994. Since 1966, the National Organization of Southwest Africa, SWAPO, began fight for independence of the Republic of South Africa. SWAPO bases were placed in the territory of Angola and Zambia, and support to them was given by the Soviet Union. The Marxism was official ideology of SWAPO. Then for the first time the name Namibia began to be used. The international community also didn't recognize the right of the Republic of South Africa for management of this territory. However, only in 1988 the authorities of the Republic of South Africa agreed to leave Namibia. On March 21, 1990, in the presence of the Union Secretary-General and the South African President, independence of Namibia was declared. The leader of SWAPO, Sam Nujoma, became the first president of Namibia. He held this post 3 terms. March 21, 2005, the former Minister of the Land Questions Hifikepunye Pohamba, who received more than 75% of votes on elections, became the president of Namibia. In 1994, representatives of the people to Irod declared creation of Liberation Army of Caprivi, which purpose is finding of independence of this territory that caused attempt of armed rebellion. Now opposition ceased. Since 2001 the strip of Caprivi is again announced safe for tourists. In Namibia there live 2,746,745 people. 2020. By estimates of 2010, annual increase in population of Namibia is 2.2%. Birth rate -29. 2 on 1,000 people, mortality -7.2 on 1,000 people. Average life expectancy for 2015, 64.39 years. 13.8% of the population are infected with a virus of an immunodeficiency. HIV. The 5th place in the world. Most of the population, 80%, is made by the people of family to Abo, generally. More than 50%. And also 7%. And other tribes. The Khoisanski people, Enama, 5%. And Bushmen, 3%. 5% are the share of Metaises, so-called caller. The majority. And Baster live in the basic in the community concentrated around the city of Rekabad to the south from Windhoek. 5.7% of the population make white descendants of the Dutch, English, Portuguese, French and German colonists. A part of the last keeps the German culture and language. White and almost all color in Namibia tell the majority into Afrikaans and differ in nothing in culture and customs from white and color in the Republic of South Africa. So, 104,000 Afrikaners and about 35,000 Namibian Germans live in Namibia. Official language is English, but it is widespread generally as the second language among youth. Though there are also carriers -7%. Its native language, or Ndanga, as the second, Afrikaans. 60% of the population. Is most widespread. Many know German, more than a half well know his literary form, the others, a kitchen dialect, a Kakendoika. Till 1990 German and Afrikaans were official languages. The most important languages of Namibia. Afrikaans knows most of the population. Ndanga is native almost for a half of the population. English, official language, knows 7% of the population. Nama or Damar Guerrero. German. Language of Namibian Germans, influential ethnic minority in Namibia. Literacy level among people is more senior than 15 years is 85%. Republic. The head of state, the president elected by the population for 5-year term. The second term in a row is possible. Two-chamber parliament, national council. 26 dicks are elected by regional councils for 6-year term. A national assembly. 104 deputies, 96 are elected by the population for 5-year term, 8 are appointed the president. 41.3% of parliament bar are women. 2017. The main political parties. Following the results of elections of nanosecond in November 2004 and 9 November 2019. SWAPO. SWAPO, the leader H. Gengup. Minus 40 senators, 63 deputies. The People's Democratic Movement. PDD, earlier Democratic Alliance Turncall, McHenry Vanani's leaders. Minus 1 senator, 16 deputies. The Movement of the Landless People. VPM, the leader Bernardo Swartbooi. Minus 4 deputies. The Democratic Organization of National Unity. NUDO, the leader Esther Munsanj. Minus 1 senator, 2 deputies. National Party. AP. The leader Ignatius Shixvameni. Minus 2 deputies. The Integrated Democratic Front. ATF, the leader Justice Garobe. Minus 2 deputies. Republican Party. REP, the leader Hank Mads. Minus 1 deputy. Namibian Fighters for Economic Freedom. NEF, the leader Pafras Mukwilongo. Minus 2 deputies. Association for Democracy and Progress. REDERP, the leader Tumika Kavakotora. Minus 1 deputy. Christian Democrat Voice. KDVV. The leader Gotkart Kandum. Minus 1 deputy. The National Union of Southwest Africa. SWANU, the leader Tangini Liambo. Minus 1 deputy. Other 5 parties participating in elections didn't receive any place. The smallest number of votes, minus 0.1%, were received by the Communist Party. In 1977-1992 Namibia was divided into 26 districts. In August 1992 districts were reorganized into 13 areas. Regions. Which in turn are divided into 102. Selective. Districts. Constituencies. In 2002 the number of constituencies is increased up to 107. On August 9, 2013 the Okavango area is divided into East by Kawangwa and Western Kawangwa. Namibia has close relations with the states which helped it with the War of Independence, including People's Republic of China, Russia and Cuba. Namibia strengthens economic and political relations in the South African region. Is an associate of development of the South of Africa and the South African Customs Union. Namibia is a supporter of further regional integration. The economy of Namibia keeps communications with the economy of the Republic of South Africa. The Namibian dollar is rigidly tied to the South African rand. Namibia is one of the poorest countries of Africa. Unemployment makes from 22.3% here.
Nevertheless, according to the World Bank, in 2015, 13.4% of the population lived less than on $1.9 a day.
Relatively 2003, the indicator improved for 18.1%. And 29. 60% lived less than for $3.2 a day. At the same time, for the last 6 years, the indicator improved for 37%.
Report of the government towards increase in education level of the population became the possible reason of improvement of the standard of living. For the end of 2012, Namibia took the 9th place in the world on the level of national expenses for education expressed percentage of GDP.
In 2017, DDD at par of purchasing power, PPS, of Namibia was about $13.25 billion, $11500 per capita. PPS, the 114th place in the world. In the country, uranium and diamonds are mined. However, in a subsoil of Namibia there are also deposits of copper, gold, silver, lead, zinc, tin, tungsten and natural gas. Diamond veins in the neighborhood of Luderitz are especially known, and the ghost town of Kolmanskop. In the neighborhood of Swakopmund there is one of the world's largest pits on extraction of uranium. Rossing N. About a half, 47%. Of all labor in Namibia is engaged in agriculture, generally in livestock production, thus that the agriculture share in DDD makes less than 10%. In particular, the important place is taken by cultivation of Astrakhan sheep. The processing and heavy industry in Namibia are developed poorly, so in these areas she strongly depends on import. Namibia also imports up to 50% of the consumed food. 37.6% of export of Namibia make gemstones and metals, 13% seafood, 12% ores. Profit on tourism is 35.2% of export of services. In 2017 to the country 1.5 million tourists drove. Namibia is included into the International Organization of the Countries, the Act. The main relocator in Namibia are automobile transportations. The road network reaches all corners of the country, its length is nearly 65000 km. The truth, only 50 km from them are asphalted. As well as to the Republic of South Africa, the movement in Namibia left side. The railway system of Namibia goes back generally to colonial times when routes were defined mainly by military needs. Total length of ways is 2382 km and connects all largest settlements of the country. Now the railroad is used almost only for freight transportation, passengers prefer buses. Nevertheless, the Namibian railroads offer the trains, Starline passenger services, along routes Windhoek, Tsumeb, Windhoek, Gobobis, Walvis Bay, Tsumeb, Walvis Bay, Swakopmund, Windhoek and Apington. Republic of South Africa. Keetmanshoop, Windhoek. Between Windhoek and Swakopmund also signature train, Desert Express, goes. The aircraft in Namibia is also very well developed. The national carrier of Air Namibia makes flights because of borders of the country in the international airport Hosea Kutako. About 40 came from Windhoek, the Dubulch code, and to Walvis Bay. Besides direct flights, it is possible to reach Windhoek also easily through the airport of Johannesburg. Almost in each more or less large settlement there is an airfield, and the set of the small companies and private owners of planes transport. The main seaport of Namibia, Walvis Bay. Kitchen. Namibians like to add 2 dishes of a grass and spice, to cook meat on a grill. Air-dried meat of beef, and antelope of a gnu or ostrich meat. It is pickled in vinegar, then in mix of a coriander, brown sugar, salt, black pepper and other spices. Dry in special rooms. A local delicacy, worms to the mopene, usually dry up them and give in the form of the crackling snack. Most of Namibians, up to 80%, Christians. Generally Lutherans, Evangelic Lutheran Church in Namibia. Other Protestant groups are presented by Reformers, Methodologists, the Assemblies of God, Adventists. A part of the population adheres to traditional beliefs. The state broadcasting company NBC. Namibian Broadcasting Corporation, Namibian Broadcasting Corporation. Includes NBC and NBC TV channels, national radio stations and a number of the radio stations broadcasting in languages of ethnic minorities. In 1990 the National Olympic Committee is created. The Namibian sprinter F. Fredericks, the 4-time silver prize winner of the Olympic Games at distances of 100 and 200 meters, the 2-time world champion at a distance of 200 meters. The world record holder at a distance of 200 meters indoors. Rugby. Rugby national team of Namibia. Sites. Successfully at the picturesque clay plateau surrounded with red sandy dunes of the Namib Desert. Wild animals in National Park of Etosha. Remains of the sunk ships on the coast of Skeletons. The reserve with seals of Cape Cross. Coast town of Kolmanskop. The big meteorite of Koba which is most found in the world. Ancient rock paintings in the Valley Kwaifontein. The ancient hardened trees and centuries-old plants of Velvechienir. The city of Corikas. National Park of Waterberg. Museum of Life of Bushmen. Museum of Life of the Tribe of Aambans. Museum of Life of the Tribe of Ahim. Traces of dinosaurs in Ochikamararo. The city of Swakopmund built by the German colonialists. The city of Swakopmund is also well known for the biggest dunes in the world, their height reaches 400 meters. Namibia is considered one of the best places in the world for observations of stars. Here is very little artificial light and stars are visible distinctly. Also far. Write comments. Read comments. Interesting people will tell interesting stories. All of good mood and good luck.